Hi, it's Hope and welcome to the video. This, as you can tell by the title and the thumbnail, is going to be my June TBR, and we are finally doing Bookopoly again. I took the month of May off, but here we are. So I first want to say that originally I was going to take punishments for my Bookopoly, but I was so stressed out because of how many roles I would have had to do that I just went, we're wiping the slate clean. I know that takes the fun out of it, but whoopee, my game, my rules, my mental health, that is that matters. So we're going back to the 6. Doubles are still an extra rule, and there's an additional rule that instead of every unfinished book that is less than 50% gets an extra roll added to the next book, like to the next month. It's just going to be any unstarted book gets an extra roll. So like, let's say hypothetically I have 6 books, I only read 4 of them, I've started the other 2, no extra rolls. But if I've, say, read 4 of them, I've started 1, and I haven't touched the 6th, then an extra roll, if that makes any sense. I'm also putting a little bit of a pause on Fabelin. I used to do that every month, but I'm just putting a little pause because I feel like my TBR games used to, like doing both of them almost was like a chore, and I don't want it to be, so we're just doing my Bookopoly because that's the game that I originally started, that I love doing, and it's what I originally started this year doing, and then I added Fabelin into February. And while I still love it, I will still do it sometimes. I might like do it so like I might do like Fabelin like every other month or every 3rd month or something like that. But this month I am participating in a couple of readathons, so I will quickly just go through them all before I forget, and I will leave all of the announcements in the description. So first is Whateverathon, hosted by Maddie from Book Browsing Blog. I will go into more details when I mention it, but it is a readathon. I will talk about it later. I'm also taking a part in Books and Bob's Summertime Bash. I think it's, I'll put the actual like title of the thing. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but that takes place all of June. So does Whateverathon, and it's like point based. You're either on Team Zach or Team Casey, who are the creators of this and who run Books and Bobs. And this I'm not setting a specific TBR for. I'm shoving books into prompts as I see fit. I am also taking a part in Camp Seasonathon, hosted by Mel from Completely Melanie, Kaylani from Kaylani Simply Me, and Clint from Reed's Reader. And I will reveal which team I'm on, and I feel bad that I had to pick one of them, but I couldn't do 30 prompts. That is just a little too much. I'm also taking part in Marvelathon, which is hosted by Lisa from Lisa Does Life, and that I chose Team Black Panther, which is the team captain is Jem from Bookish Gems, and I'm not setting a TBR for that. I'm just gonna kind of like shove books in there as I see fit, or maybe throughout the month I might add some. I haven't really decided on that, but yeah, let's just go straight into the Bookopoly rules. I will talk about those, and then I will talk about the books that I'm reading for the readathons. And I will say this right off the bat, the only books that get a punishment are the Bookopoly books. So if I don't read any of the readathon books and switch them out for others, that is a-okay. This is just more of like these are all the books I want to get to this month because they fit these prompts and I want to read them. Does that make any sense? It should. But let's get in with roll number 1. Okay, so here's the board. As we've already established, we are doing 6 rolls unless there are doubles. So let's start off with roll number 1. That is 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
So we have a small book under 300 pages.
So for rule number 1, as you saw, we got under 300 pages, and for this I am choosing Queen by Katie Robert, and this is the 3rd and final book in the Bloodline Vampire series. I'm gonna suck at describing this book because, well, I suck at describing the first book, which is Sacrifice, and in Sacrifice we essentially follow Mina, who is a half vampire, and her father has been controlling of her entire life, and her father sends her to this like mansion where she is supposed to befriend and essentially procreate with this bloodline vampire named Malachi, and neither Mina nor Malachi want this, so they kind of make up their own plan, and this is a smutty reverse harem as 2 of Malachi's friends get involved. And this is the final book in the series, and it is only it's under 200 pages, so under 200 pages, under 300 pages. It fits, and it's completing a series. That is something that I rarely do, so I feel very accomplished for actually putting a final book in a series on this list.
Rule number 2 is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so the chance cards is there are 6 books that I really want to read and 6 books that I don't want to read, but I don't want to read them right now. I have no idea what order they are in, so we will just pick the top one, which is Daughter of the Pirate King by Trisha Levenseller. Why did my brain literally go, if I get chance, I hope it's this book? I swear I didn't rig it.
Rule number 2 gave us chance, and for this is Daughter of the Pirate King by Trisha Levenseller. This is a book I've been meaning to read for a while, but I haven't, and I don't know much about this. And so this essentially we follow a 17-year-old pirate, and she ends up deliberately getting captured by the enemy to search their ship in order to find this legendary map, and that's kind of all I know. That's kind of all I want to know. I kind of want to go into this knowing completely nothing.
Okay, rule number 3 is 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. An ebook. So that just has to be something that is an ebook. So it could be from my library, my Kindle Unlimited, just like anything that is like ebook.
Next we got ebook, and for that I'm picking Screwed by Tori Heat. I know nothing about this. It's like a dark dystopian, and that's kind of all I want to know. I have an arc of this. It comes out June 9th, so this will be one of my first reads of June, and it's an ebook. Again, I don't know much about it. I don't really want to know anything about it, so I'm not gonna purposely look it up when I don't want to, so Screwed by Tori Heat for ebook.
Rule number 4 is 6 again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Start a new series. Jesus Christ, why can't I continue series? I always start new series.
For Start a New Series, this is a perfect opportunity to read Spellbound by Carolyn Schultz, as me and my friend Morgan did the first sentence challenge, and unfortunately, minor spoilers because this video isn't up yet, I lost one of the rounds, so Morgan picked Spellbound as it's her favorite book. And I know nothing about this. I'm going in completely blind. It is a YA fantasy that came out in like the early 2010s, I think. So like I know it's gonna be kind of cheesy, but I'm also like ready to read it because Morgan has hyped it up, and I'm like, even if it's just a little bit okay, that's all that matters.
Rule number 5, I'm gonna jinx myself saying this, but I'm surprised we haven't gotten any doubles. Okay, 7, I'm just gonna quickly turn the board here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Humans, so books with humans as the main protagonist.
For humans, I'm reading Loveless by Alice Oseman. We're going to have a theme of, I don't know much about this. I literally don't know much about Loveless. This is the book club pick for the Late Night Bookworming book club, which I am a co-host of. So there will be a live on the first Saturday of July on somebody's channel. I'm not sure who, but this is by Alice Oseman. I just want to read everything Alice Oseman. This, I know we follow a character who is Ace, which I, to my knowledge, don't really think I've read that many books featuring Ace characters, so I'm very excited to read this. And again, I just want to read everything that Alice Oseman writes. I also will probably be trying to get my hands on a physical copy of this. I just haven't yet. And our sixth and final throw, if we don't get a double, if it's a one, I might cry. Jesus Christ. Okay. 1, 2. So a poll pick. I'm going to put a poll pick up on some kind of social media. I'm not sure what. And I will pick a book based on that poll, whichever one wins. So, yeah. For poll pick, I put a poll of a couple different books on my Twitter, and I Kiss Shara Wheeler by Casey McQuiston won. This essentially followed Chloe, who she just wants to be like valedictorian of her like school, and there's one person that kind of is in the way, and that is Shara Wheeler. But when Chloe and Shara kiss and Shara ends up going missing, Chloe goes out and looks to try to find Shara with the help of Shara's boyfriend and then next door neighbor. And yeah, that's all I know. It's Casey McQuiston. To be fair, I didn't know anything about this book when I bought it, like when I pre-ordered it, because it's Casey McQuiston. You will see Casey McQuiston on this list again later. Now will this be the last one? Because of course I jinxed myself. Are we surprised? Yes, as we got an 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Chance again. So again, we already know what this is. So, Starters by Lissa Price. Okay, I definitely didn't want to read this book in June, but okay. And for Chance, I am going to be reading Starters by Lissa Price. I know nothing about this. It's been on my shelf for like over a year, and I have no idea what it is about. It's on my These Books Will Self-Destruct shelf. But Callie lost her parents when the Spore Wars wiped out everyone between the ages of 20 and 60. She and her little brother Tyler go on the run, living as squatters with their friend Michael and fighting off renegades who would like to kill them off for a cookie. Callie's only hope is Prime Destinations, a disturbing place in Beverly Hills run by a mysterious figure known as the Old Man. He hires teens to rent their bodies to enders, seniors who want to be young again. Callie, desperate for the money that will keep her, Tyler, and Michael alive, agrees to be a donor, but the neurochip they place in their heads malfunctions and she wakes up in the life of her renter. Callie soon discovers that her renter intends to do more than party, and that Prime Destination plans are more evil than she could ever imagined. I don't know, I don't have high hopes for this book, but like I own it. It was the Chance pick. Yeah, that's it. Okay, first we'll jump into Camp Seasonathon. And so, Camp Seasonathon runs the whole month of June, and I picked Clint's cabin as he's put it, the Rainbow Cabin. I feel like I was torn between who to pick, but the main reason I picked Clint's Cabin is because of all the queer prompts. So first there is a group book for Camp Seasonathon, which is The Nature of Witches by Rachel Griffin. I know nothing about this. I will probably be reading it because like it's the group book. I've read all the group's books for the last like year of Seasonathon and have loved them. So I mean, I didn't really have interest in this. All I know is it's about witches. That's all I know. That's all I want to know. So for prompt number 1, I'm also apologizing if I'm looking down here. I have everything written out because I'm too dumb to remember. So the first prompt is oldest book on your TBR, and for that is The Love That Split the World by Emily Henry. This was from a book haul from January 2020, and I believe it's the oldest book on my shelf. This, I feel like I've described it a million times. Essentially, there is this town that slowly things go a little bit wrong, and we have Natalie who ends up meeting Beau, and she is told that basically you have 3 months to save him, and it's kind of like a magical realism, I think is what it's technically classified as. I've had this on like 2 or 3 other TBRs, and I hadn't read it, so I will say this, if I do not read it this month, I will probably get rid of it, as this is also on my These Books Will Self-Destruct in 12 Months video. The next 2 prompts were middle grade, but the way that Clint did his game is because how these prompts were picked is each like host plays their own game, and so the way that Clint's work is middle grade, there was 2 prompts. So the first one was mystery, thriller, spooky, horror. I'm picking Bridge of Souls by Victoria Schwab, or V.E. Schwab as like she's more known as. But this is a middle grade like horror series, and essentially we follow Cassidy Blake, who can see ghosts, and she travels with her parents to various cities as her parents are ghost hunters, and Cassidy ends up interacting with ghosts, and yeah, that's basically it. And then for new to you author, I'm going to read Lillian Duncan by Donna Gephardt. And essentially in this we follow Lily Jo, who has recently come out as trans, and she's kind of struggling through that because it's 8th grade. And then we also follow Duncan, who has just moved to a new town, and he's just kind of struggling with that. It is just a little queer middle grade. One thing that I've heard good things about this, but one thing that I do not like is how literally in the description of the book you do dead named Lily Jo. I think she goes by both names in it, but that is one thing that I don't like, and so I'm gonna give this a shot. I don't even remember when I got a physical copy of it, but I just heard good things, or I've heard decent things, I shall say. So yeah, it's a queer middle grade. It's also Pride Month, so I wanted to try to get a decent amount of queer books on this TBR. So prompt number 3 is adult paranormal, and so for this I'm picking Queen by Katie Robert, as it's vampires, so that counts as paranormal. For prompt number 4, graphic novel or manga, I'm kind of doing a comic, which it fits in that vibe of like graphic novel, manga, comic. They're all very similar, and that for this I'm reading Shades of Magic Volume 2, Night of Knives by V.E. Schwab. This is the Shades of Magic graphic novels. It's the second one. I literally just recently read the first one. I liked it. This essentially we follow Maxim Maresh, who is the king from the original like Shades of Magic novel series, and you're just kind of seeing him doing various things. It's a decent series. I will be continuing on with it. Number 5 is contemporary, author you've read before. I'm going to be reading All Your Perfects by Colleen Hoover. I know nothing about this. It's Colleen Hoover. Everything I've read so far by her I've loved, so I don't really want to know anything going into it, so I'm not looking it up. For number 6, read a fave / auto by author. I Kissed Shara Wheeler, as I pre-ordered this before actually even knowing what the book was about. Oops. But yeah, Casey McQuiston is like an auto by author, so yeah. Prompt number 7 is Sapphic, and for this I will be reading Never Ever Getting Back Together by Sophie Gonzalez. This book is an arc. It does not come out till December, but for some reason little old me has an arc of it. Thank you, NetGalley. But this essentially we follow 2 girls who go onto this like dating show because it's like their ex is doing like a dating show. It's almost like The Bachelor, but like it's with the exes or something. and the two end up falling for each other. That's kind of all I know. That is all I want to know. I'm very, very excited for this. I'm mad that I haven't read it. I really want to get to it because, like, I just know I will love it. So, yeah. Number 8 is trans, non-binary, or genderqueer rep. And for this, I'm reading Between Perfect and Real by Ray Stoave. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that last name right. But this, I don't know much about, so I'm going to read the description about. So, Dean Foster knows he's a trans guy. He's watched enough YouTube videos and done enough questioning to be sure. But everyone at his high school thinks he's a lesbian, including his girlfriend Zoe and his theater director who just cast him as a non-traditional Romeo. He wonders if maybe it would be easier to wait until college to come out, but as he plays Romeo every day in rehearsals, Dean realizes he wants everyone to see him as he really is now, not just on stage, but everywhere in his life. Dean knows what he needs to do. Can playing a role help Dean be his true self? I feel like this is going to be a very, like, I don't want to say interesting read, but a very, like, thought-provoking one, because you are literally, like, you are seeing Dean struggle with coming out as trans, and I feel like that's going to be something good to read. And I probably will be listening to the audiobook of this because I believe my library has it. So yeah. And the final prompt is queer, so just any queer book, and for that I'm reading Red, White, and Royal Blue by Case McQuiston. This we follow Alex Claremont Diaz, who's the son of the President of the United States, the first ever female president, and he ends up forming a fake friendship with Henry, who is the Prince of Wales, and that fake friendship turns into a real friendship. That real friendship turns into a relationship, and is just kind of like a queer rom-com almost. As you can see, I've kind of tabbed the crap out of it, and I've even written in this book. I love it so much. This will be my 5th time reading it. So, yeah. And then for Whateverathon, which essentially how it works is you have this bingo board, you fill in the bingo board, but you get points for each thing. I will just link the announcement video as it is a little bit confusing, but I'm on team Beach Readers, and this is our bingo board. So as you can see, there are the blue prompts. Those are Beach Reader specific prompts. Those are the only prompts I'm going through, because I believe that out of every single book that I've already shown here, I would have completed every other prompt. So for dark romance, I'm going to be reading Screwed by Tori Heat, as it is a dark dystopian romance. So that fits dark romance. For political fantasy, I will be reading Jade City by Fonda Lee. I was originally supposed to read this in May, but I didn't get to it. But this essentially, I don't know much about this, in all honesty. But essentially, there is this thing called Jade that certain people can use for abilities, but there is people that aren't supposed to be using it, and it is like, kind of like a, yeah, it's like, there's a drug that lets anybody use Jade. There's like rivalry between people. It's a political fantasy. I don't know much about it, but I'm excited for it. So this works for political fantasy. For summer thriller, I have put down The Last Time We Lied by Riley Sager, as it fits the prompt, and it also works for host fave, as it's India from What India Read, one of her favorite books. Like one of her like host faves. So this, all I know is it's a thriller that takes place at a summer camp, and that's it. For Water on the Cover, Daughter of the Pirate King by Trisha Levenseller. If you look very specifically at the bottom, which I'll try to put it right above my finger, that is water. If you do not believe that is water, I don't know what is. And for indie / self-pub, Queen by Katie Robert, but also Screwed by Tori Heatworks. And I will probably read some like indie romance throughout the month too. So yeah, that is my TBR for June. Again, if I don't read any of the Seasonathon, like the camp Seasonathon books, and I read other books, that's okay. If I read none of the Whateverathon books that I picked out, that is okay. As long as I get the 7 books that I mentioned at the beginning for Bookopoly done, that is good. But let me know what readathons you're participating in the month of June, what books you're reading, or just anything bookish in the comments below. I'd love to hear. So yeah, bye!